Kapalabhati, skull shining breath, or often just called breath of fire. This pranayama saturates the blood with oxygen, which is good for metabolic function and really stimulates brain activity due to its name, skull shining breath, and related to that is a stimulation of the pituitary and pineal glands, both found in the brain. Kapalabhati strengthens and tones the abdomen, which helps to assist and aid in digestion. And it is a nice preparation for meditation. It helps to bring a sense of mental focus and calmness, yet at the same time it stimulates the body well enough to help you stay alert during your meditations. If you practice this pranayama late in the evening or late at night, it may prevent you from sleeping well. Other contraindications related to this breath is that it should be avoided if you have heart disease, high blood pressure, vertigo, epilepsy, and you should refrain from practicing Kapalabhati if you are pregnant due to the forced contraction and pressure on the abdominal area. And as with most pranayamas, avoid this practice if you're currently suffering from any nasal congestion or inflammation. Kapalabhati gets its namesake breath of fire due to a continual, repeated, strong, forceful contraction of the diaphragm muscle located in the abdominal region, which is used to push air out of the nostrils. Allow me to demonstrate a couple of rounds of contracting the diaphragm in order to push the air out. Now note that during this strong contraction of the diaphragm, you want to use most of the effort for that practice from the diaphragmatic area itself. Avoid throwing the shoulders forward, throwing the head forward, lurching into the posture in order to force the breath out. As with most pranayamas, you want to sit up tall so that the spine is long, the sushumna is unblocked, and try to maintain the work, the majority of the effort, all from the diaphragm region. There is an inhalation related to this breath. It's not just all exhalation. The difference, however, is though that where the exhalation is very forceful and powerful, the inhalation is more passive. So if you think about how you breathe normally when you're not practicing pranayama, it's just a soft, it's an easy inhalation that occurs. And the inhalation related to Kapalabhati is very similar, whereas the exhalation is forced. As the diaphragm relaxes, air is naturally pulled in, and you'll just pull air in without force and effort. Take your index finger and your middle finger and find the place where your two rib cages come together at your sternum. From that point, move down about 2 centimeters, and then I want you to cough. Or try it again. Okay, did you feel that contraction underneath your fingertips? You probably felt a tightening of the muscular tissue there. This is your diaphragm. This is the muscle that you want to forcefully contract in order to expel air out of the lungs and out of the nose. At first, as you're getting used to Kapalabhati, it may be challenging to continue the practice of this pranayama for long durations of time. And even just through this 5-week course, you'll notice a significant advancement in your own duration and practice of Kapalabhati. And just a couple other mentions about this practice before we try it together with each other. If over the course of your practice of Kapalabhati, if you start to run out of air, if you're feeling like you're not bringing enough inhalation in to sustain continual practice of the pranayama, this is one indication that you might not be contracting the diaphragm forcefully enough to work as a pump. So if you start running out of oxygen, try to more diligently engage the diaphragm on exhalation However, if you do run out of breath, it is okay to stop at any point in time and just take a deep breath in and pick up in the practice right where you left off. Don't feel as if you need to force this pranayama or any of the pranayamas beyond your normal comfort level or into strain. Also related to that, if you become dizzy or disoriented during the practice, feel free to stop, take a couple breaths, and then jump back in when you feel ready to. The diaphragmatic pumps can be about a second apart. So if you're thinking about timing throughout the repetition, the count, this 1 second count, can increase or decrease depending on your level of comfort with the pranayama. So let's practice a few rounds and become familiar with this. If it is helpful to you to keep your fingertips on your diaphragm to be conscious of where you want to contract, you can feel free to leave those there, or you can take mudras of your choice. So sit tall, open your chest, think about the pranayama that's about to occur, take a normal breath in, and take a normal breath out. Inhale fully, exhale completely. Inhale, we'll go to 10 breaths. Stop. Take a breath in and let a breath out. Inhale. Exhale. Full breath in for another 10 breaths. Stop. Take a breath in. Let a breath out. Inhale fully. Exhale completely. Let's do one more round. Full breath in. Stop. Inhale. And exhale. We'll have lots of opportunity in this course to practice Kapalbhati and increase durations and explore its practice. We'll explore a couple of other techniques of Kapalabhati in this course we'll refer to as Technique 2 and 3. Technique 2 being Vam Kapalabhati, referring to the left side, and Dakshina Kapalabhati, referring to the right side. So this is a single nostril Kapalabhati. In single nostril Kapalabhati, you want to start on the side that is more open. So you'll probably want to check by either breathing on your finger or on your hand, or however you want to do that, and determine which side is more open. If the right side is more open, you would start with Dakshina Kapalabhati by closing off the left nostril and breathing into the right, or vice versa. If the left side is more open, you would close off the right side and start your single nostril Kapalabhati on that side. It is a little bit more challenging to do Kapalabhati through one nostril. It's a little bit more complicated to pump the diaphragm enough and allow enough oxygen to come in on the inhalation to sustain that style, that technique for longer periods. Fortunately, we'll get some practice in the course before we get to single nostril Kapalabhati. There is a mudra, a hand position, that aids and assists with closing off the nostrils. The mudra is called Nasagra mudra, or often called Vishnu mudra, and I might use those terms interchangeably throughout the course. With Nasagra mudra, you want to bring the index finger and the middle finger to the base of your thumb, and then you bring the ring finger and little finger together and pair their width to be as wide as the thumb. It's almost like it creates little pincers or little chopsticks with your fingers. The thumb will be used to close off the right nostril, and the ring finger and the little finger will be used to close off the left nostril. So go ahead and set this up and I'll talk you through it. So bring the index finger and the middle finger to the base of the thumb, and then pair the ring finger and the little finger to be as wide as the thumb. And then find the bridge of your nose. So the thumb is on the right side, the ring and the little finger is on your left. The bridge of the nose is where the bone turns into cartilage. You don't want to press off the entrance to the nasal passage because then it gets all stuck. And you got to make a lot of weird faces to unstick that. But if you find the bridge of the nose and then just move down slightly, you'll find a place where you can press in that will essentially block off the air on that side. And then it's a matter of turning the wrist slightly from one side to the other in order to switch which side that you want to block off. A couple other pointers about Nasagra Mudra. If you lift your chest up, you can allow the back of your arm to rest on your chest. This will enable you to hold the arm up for longer durations of time without it getting all tired, without it being able to be supported or suspended on anything. You always want to use the right hand for blocking off the nasal passages, with an exception for if you do not have a right hand. Of course, you can use the left hand, or if you have any type of injury with the right hand, you can use the left hand in those instances. Another nuance to this technique that I'll use to assist opening up the more open side is I'll use my fingers on the side of the nostril to kind of stretch it open a little bit further to create more space to breathe through. If I'm breathing through the left side, I'll block off the right with my thumb, and then I'll use the ring finger and pinky finger to stretch open the left nostril further to do my Kapalbhati through. Or opposite on the other side, if I'm blocking off the left nostril with the ring finger and the little finger, I'll use my thumb to the right side of my nostril to push away from it and to create more space there. Another possible modification with the hand technique would be to close off the more open side just a little bit so that the more open side is just as closed as the more closed side. Does that make sense? The idea here is that you want to try to equalize the force, the effort, the amount of air and oxygen that you're working through each side. Another variation of Nasagra or Vishnu Mudra might be to extend the index finger and middle finger to the middle of the eyebrows or the third eye, if you can. This is a very common use of the mudra as well. And lastly, there are some additional techniques of Kapalbhati that incorporate bandhas and breath retention during the inhalations or exhalations of the Kapalbhati. We won't get into those too much during this course, but there will be some moments as the course progresses where we do Mahabandha immediately following the Kapalbhati. Kapalbhati, skull shining breath, breath of fire.